Alright, so in this video we're going to show how to install the drift fix for the PowerA Enhanced. I'm not sure, since I don't have them, the other PowerA controllers, but I think they're all essentially the same on the inside. So you got a bunch of screw holes, looks like 2, 4, 6, 8. 8 screws you got to take. Once that's done, the back comes off pretty easy. So the other two that are critical to take is this one and this one here. This frees the circuit board from the front half of the shell. So the construction of this control is very similar to the Xbox 360, and what I mean by that is the triggers cover the analog stick on this side. So in order for us to get that out, we're going to pretty much have to do the same thing. So this right here has a potentiometer, as you can see, and since the arm assembly is connected, even if I disconnect this has like a long shaft right here. You can't really take it out unless you desolder this this potentiometer. So same setup if anybody's watched my Xbox 360 installation. We're going to use a K-tip. You have to pop this off unless you have a pretty good chance of melting the plastic cap if you don't. So we're going to be hitting these 3 pins right here. Let me see if I can get a better angle with the light is not so bright. Alright. Okay, these 3 right here. So we're going to be heating those up, and we're going to pull on this at the same time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to I'm going to loosen this up. There's 2 locking bolts here, clasps, these plastic clasps right here that lock into this plastic bracket into the circuit board. There's another one here. This one actually kind of comes off pretty easy. If you put a little bit of pressure here, it push back. As you push on this, it pops off pretty easy. So now that we kind of have it somewhat loose, we can heat this up and then pull it off. I'm not sure if this is really going to do much on this one. Okay, so I got that one as well too. So there's nothing really holding this back piece here except for the potentiometer. So I already got my K-tip. Probably a good idea to disconnect this wire. I already got my K-tip, which is basically like a knife or chisel type tip. Want to add a little bit of solder because you want as much heat transfer to all 3 pins as possible at the same time. So I'm going to pull back on this. You know, my fingers is going to act like a lever. So I'm pulling back on this as I heat these 3 at the same time. If you have like a desoldering like soldering iron or a pump, those are pretty good to use here. I'm just showing what most people would use. I do have one of those, but you know, I'm sure most people just have a soldering iron and not all the other fancy tools. Let me add a little bit more solder. This bottom one is being a little more problematic. So if I'm adding a little fresh solder, you should be able to heat this last one up. There we go. trying not to hit this socket right here so it doesn't melt. Going back and forth isn't working so much, so I'm just going to bridge all of these so it's like a big blob, so it heats everything up all at once. Should make it easier since we're heating all the pins. Alright, there we go. Okay. Clean your tip. And now that we got this out, I'm just going to clean the pin real quick. Just do a little drag on it. You want it as clean as possible, so when we put it back in, it's a lot easier to get it in the holes. Okay, so now we can set this aside. If you have some solder braid or desoldering braid, it would be a good time to use this. We're going to try to clean these holes up to make it easier for us to put together after. Okay, as you can see, the holes, we sucked up all the solder in the holes. Now we can get to where we need to get. So we're going to install one of the flex PCBs over here on the back of this stick, and the other over here. So now that we clear this area here, we'll make it a lot easier for us. So I'm going to be doing that in the next section of the video. So now that we got the controller to where we can install the flex PCBs, we're going to do that next. So this one's real simple. That one just goes right over that. This one comes over here. Okay, I'm just going to put something to prop the bottom so I can work on it. And you guys can see it on camera. So the installation is real simple. Once you got it in there, this row of 3 here and that row there, those are the critical points. The other points are just mounting points to help secure it down. So add a little solder to the tip, hold it on there to heat it up, introduce the solder. It should flow nice and smooth. I'm pushing it down as I reflow the solder because I want this as flush as possible. So to help with that, I'm going to solder this mounting point here. This is a ground point, so ground takes longer to heat up. So now we need to make sure the holes are clean from like we did last time, because we're going to be putting the 3 pins here. Make sure all the snaps here, this one and that one, okay. Now that that's done, we're going to add solder to the 3 points. Okay. Now that that's done, we're pretty much all set. So let me zoom in to show you guys. So you want nice clean joints like that. Nothing can be touching the one on the side. Everything's got to be individual. Otherwise you're going to have the stick go in one direction. You won't be able to adjust it. So now it's just putting it back together, at least the front half. Plug it in the USB cable, go into the website and make adjustments to the 2 pots here, which is little screws, to fine tune the drift so it's centered.